Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala syarfil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, in the previous video I explained to you the whole flow of understanding the nature of human psychology vis-a-vis Islamic metaphysics, and how we can actually change our thoughts, habits and behavior, and the manifestation of how we can overcome our negative thoughts, negative habits and negative behavior, and how we can specify to exactly what we want to do. But I'm going to repeat again the whole idea of how, because by eliminating negative thoughts we also can eliminate our habits and behavior. So from the Islamic perspective, we have the realm of the absolute, the realm of Allah, His Zat, and then He gives us through the realm of the influences His tawfiq, His hidayah, His grace, His love, His mercy. So that is our positive influences. And then for the realm of the negative influences, the shaitanic, the nafsu ammara, the evil people, both of in the spiritual realm as well as in the physical realm, society, evil methods or civilizational values, like for example hedonism and things like that. So you are influenced, and that influences affect your physical realm, affects your mental realm, affects your heart, affects your roh. So there is a what we call a disintegration. When there is a disintegration of your cult especially, then you will lose your purpose and meaning in life. And that's why in the 21st century, when we adopt atheism as a basis of our life, because now everywhere in the world the churches are getting empty. In Europe and America, more and more churches are closing down. Why? Because they do not have any feelings of spirituality left. For them, the basis of this life is just a physical, material existence based on the so-called science. But science is just incomplete. The science that we know today about the nature of the cosmos, for example, we know about the weak nuclear force, the strong nuclear force, we know about electromagnetism, we know about gravity. Those are those that affects the existence of our universe and ourselves, and the behavior of our cells, our body, electron, proton, and so on, is incomplete. That only constitute 5%. 95% is invisible. They call that the invisible world. That means when we talk about all the sciences about the stars or cosmology, or all the sciences of, for example, epigenetics or genetics, all the sciences of in the physical world, of creation, of for example, of quantum computers and all that, that only constitute 5% of the so-called knowledge of the being of this universe. Because 95% is what? Dark matter and dark energy. We only know 5% and we think we know everything. The same thing about the nature of the mind. We are the atheistic psychology is more confused about the nature of the mind, because they remove the heart, they remove the akal. Early on they say, okay, what you see is your manifestation. Sure, you have this behavior psychology that you are an animal. Alright, so they take animal, they take the dogs and extrapolate from the dogs, that is your behavior. You have the behavior of the dogs, then they study the apes and said you are the behavior of the apes, which is nonsensical. It is so fundamentally stupid. But you know, that was the behavior psychology is only about 80-90 years ago. But whereas Muslim psychologists have said that we have this integration of the self, not the disintegration or the elimination of the self. Later on they have humanistic psychology. Oh, they talk about the heart, and now they accept the heart. Now we have with the science of epigenetics and the science of heart coherence, spiritual understanding of nature of quantum reality and so on, so many of these new phenomena which they are beginning to understand. But remember, we Muslims have the answer to the metaphysics of existence, the psychology of being 1,000 years ago. And I'm just giving you this idea back again. So from the real absolute, Allah send the influences, and the influences will affect our akal, our qalb, our jasad, and so on. So within our roh, we know this is our roh is a command from Allah. The qalb is also integrating with our physical heart, and the akal, our akal is also integrating with our physical brain. So our physical brain I have broken into three, because in neuroscience they talk about the brainstem and the cerebellum, the limbic system, and the neocortex. Okay, so how does this integrate then with the physical self? And how does it affect thoughts, habits, behavior, and so on? Because if you have a bad thoughts, you start with thoughts first. Remember, from the realm of Islamic psychology, we have the FET cycle, which I've explained to you much earlier. You go back to my earlier video, we have the feelings, emotion, thoughts. Because from this realm of the influences, it is the feelings that are coming to us. Then we receive an inner emotion, then we create the thoughts. But from the perspective of our physical existence, it is thought, emotions, and feelings. Okay, I spent about 6 or 7 videos explaining this understanding. You need to go back to my early videos. So, but if I take from the existence of ourselves, we take the F, instead of the FET cycle, we take the TEF, thoughts, emotion, feelings. So we have thoughts, we have the emotions within our physical body, and then the feelings within our physical body. Then the manifestation of that cycle within our brain would be, for example, we have a negative thoughts. All right, we have, for example, thoughts of hatred, of revenge, of negativity, of, for example, we have thoughts of, from a lot of people, they have thoughts of addiction. They want to drink alcohol, or they want to have the ecstasy drug, or they want to have cocaine or heroin. Their body begin to manifest the desire. That desire is manifested where? It is manifested in the feelings, the physical body. But it is actually being triggered by what? By the influences both at the spiritual heart and akal. Because even the drug addict, even though he has a desire for the addict, there is always a counter force. All right, and it becomes a stress. So for that addict, he knows that if he takes alcohol, he's going to get drunk, and then he may hurt himself and his family. So he may even destroy his family. He's got a lot of alcohol, beat up their wife, beat up their children, even rape their children when they are in the state of drunkenness. They know, they sense it. But the human lower self, the satanic influence, the inner negative thoughts, the whispering comes to them. Hey, you know, you always get drunk every day at 6 o'clock. Why don't you, you should get drunk. It's very nice to get drunk. So you have these negative thoughts coming in. But the positive thoughts of that drunkard, he says, no, if I drink, then I may beat up my wife. So he is in conflict. When he's in conflict, what happened to him? He's in stress. When he's stressed, then this is where the mind-body relationship takes place. When he's in stress, his brainstem, all right, and his limbic system, especially the hippocampus and the amygdala in the limbic system, will then signal the adrenal gland. Hey, this fella is in stress. So when you are in stress, the limbic system, the amygdala, and the hippocampus will send the neurotransmitters to the adrenal gland, and this adrenal gland will then create cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol and adrenaline is the fight or flight hormones. It goes into your bloodstream, and then you are ready. So you get trembling, your heartbeat start going, you are ready to face another challenge. And when that happens, you normally, because of your habit, your normal habit is to have your alcohol at 6 o'clock. Your will, in terms of your kalb, is not strong enough to resist that. In terms of your roh, also not strong enough. So you don't have the roh, kalb, akal coherence. It is a discoherence or disintegration, or there's no synergy between these three forces that Allah has given to you. Then you take your alcohol, all right? Then you become a habit. So from thoughts, from the neurochemical link that I've mentioned to you in terms of the production of cortisol from your adrenaline gland, triggered by amygdala and the hippocampus, you go and produce this hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, that affects your will to resist that temptation becomes lower and lower and lower. When it becomes lower, it becomes a habit. So once it becomes a habit, then it becomes a behavior. All right. So how can then you overcome that? In Islam, the best way to overcome that is to use all the realms of existence that Allah has given to you. That means you use the realms of your roh, because the roh carry the highest level of positive energy. The realms of your kalb and the realms of your akal. Combination of the akal al-kulli and the akal al-juzi. Alright? And when you combine that, the information that is affecting your physical self is going up and is going down. So that will be a continuous battle. When that battle is being influenced by your rohaniyah and your qalb, you have a better chance of overcoming that bad thoughts. Alright? So how can you overcome that? This is where you have to do, for example, when you have these feelings, you want to get into this alcohol. I'm giving you this alcoholic addiction. The same example can be for drug addiction, it can be for gambling addiction, it could be for pornography addiction, it could be for video addiction also. I'll have another video on the dangers of video addiction for children, especially how they become zombies. Very dangerous, but we will talk that in a later video. The same mechanism. So if you have this coherence at the roh, you have an inkling of iman, you say, Ya Allah, I'm addicted to this alcohol. It's always at 6 o'clock, I feel I have no will to resist this alcohol or this drug. Please help me. So now you are relying on Allah. Then your heart also begins to feel the need to have peace, happiness, tranquility. So you try to recreate in your mind these feelings of being free from alcohol, the peace and tranquility that you had before you become an alcohol addict. All right? And then from that you try to change your thoughts, gradually shift your thoughts using all the will that Allah has given you, all right, to slowly resist that temptation. And this is a process. I'm not saying today you do that, tomorrow you become free from addiction, because the power of addiction is so strong that those who do not rely on their roh and qalb and akal cannot change the physical state. Alright? So to change that physical state, your negative thoughts, you bring of the thoughts of peace, of tranquility, you reflect, of zikr, of dua, of ibadah, of so many things that you can do within Islam. For Muslims, it's not a problem. You can implement all that. Then you create a synergy between your roh and your qalb. And you create a synergy between your qalb, roh and akal. And then you have these more positive thoughts. That means you are not thinking of the past or yesterday. You're thinking about today, and you're thinking about your future. Your future as a person who is happy, your future as a person who has a wonderful family, your future in which your children is loving and your wife and children are loving to you, and so on and so on. So you start imagining that in your mind, in this akal al-kulli. You start thinking about that, start looking at that, and then maybe you look at nature, you look at all the other things, and implement zikrullah in a way that you are linking yourself to Allah all the time. Alright? So you can, there's many zikr, especially Asmaul Husna, I've taught in many of the other videos, but in situations like this, you ask for Allah to help you. Alright? He is, Ya Allah, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Wadud. So you ask for the forgiveness and the grace of Allah. And you also ask for Allah knowing your inner condition as being an addict. So you say, Ya Allah, Ya Latif, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Wadud. So you use 3 asma. Ya Allah, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Allah, Ya Latif, Ya Ghafoor, Ya Wadud. So you have Allah to see your inner weaknesses. Ya Latif, He is the all subtle. He sees everything, all your difficulties. Then He asks for forgiveness and you ask for His love. And repeat this in your mind. So this become the positive influencer. Remember? To get rid of the negative influencer, and then when the time for you to come to do your salah, you do salah, or for the time for you to seek continuous help from Allah in all other means, communication with your family, with your friends, go and see a counselor, all those are part of this holy healing process. To change your thoughts and then change your habit, and from your habit change your behavior. Alright? So this physical self is just a vehicle only that Allah has ordained its manifestation as we live on this physical earth. When we leave this physical, this is gone. But so long as all our feelings, emotion and thoughts is residing in this realm, we would then always be controlled by all the influences in this world. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us free will. Alright? Free will means you have the capacity to resist, to change, and to take the positive aspects of the dunya so that we can have all this recreated in our life in this dunya. Alright, and then receiving those positive aspects of this dunya in the akhirah as well, because we have in Islam, we have life after death, we have Jannah. We are not just mere animal living and dying, but we are having another realm of existence, the spiritual realm of eternity, which Allah has given us. So this is where, remember, we negate the negative thoughts, switch it off, and bring in the necessary neurotransmitters of serotonin, alright, of dopamine, alright, of oxytocin, so that this chemical brain interaction will act on your akal al-kulli and will act on your physical self, and your roh, the spiritual power of your roh, the spiritual power of your qalb, and the spiritual power of akal al-kulli will then become your assistant in a way that you can transform, reform, and then become a better person. So this is a very wonderful approach of Islamic metaphysics combined with modern psychology. What I'm telling you is what science have discovered today. But this was the methodology of our great scholars, our great alim, our great ulama, our great masters of tasawwuf. They are practicing this every day. They know this is natural to them. The Sahabas, for example, how does Islam grow? Suddenly, boom, it tackles the whole world. Because the Sahabas, Tabi'in, and the Tabi'in understand this mechanism subconsciously. They don't need to think. They already know that this is the way, this is the approach of how Allah helps us, and this mechanism is then repeated by many of the Tabi'in, the great Imam, the scholars, and so on. They brought this whole understanding in various levels in their kitab. You can find these ideas reflected in their kitab. But I'm giving you an integration of what is from the ancient kitab and what is from the neuroscience. And if you can understand this, you can see that this beautiful deen of Islam can help you overcome your challenges in life. That inshallah you begin to practice Islam in its fullness and understanding the mechanism of how you can enhance the qualities and the power of your roh, qualities and the power of your qalb, qualities and powers of your akal. Then you also have a good physical life. You would then recreate Jannah on this earth and live in peace and tranquility, having achieved all that Allah has given you, using your free will to choose from evil to goodness. And inshallah you will then be a true and sincere servant of Allah, being His Khalifa, striving always to make yourself good, helping others to be good, and making the world good, inshallah.